Good evening, everyone. I am Blessy, one of the OET IELTS trainers with Dynamic Academy. We are once again back with another OET session. Today, we are going to discuss common mistakes that we are going to find out in an OET writing. And mistakes are human nature, but when it comes to OET or IELTS, it has to be avoided. Otherwise, it will reduce your desired score. So today's video I will be discussing 10 common mistakes. I have taken only 10. There are a lot of mistakes, but I have taken only 10. So we'll have a discussion on that. First mistake is noun verb agreement. Okay, 90% of candidates make this mistake. It is otherwise called as subject verb agreement also. Okay, both are same. So this is one of the rule in our grammar. And if you make any mistake in this, it will automatically considered as a grammatical error only, and it will reduce your score. So we can check what is this agreement. So from that agreement's name itself, it is clear that according to the noun or according to the subject you are using, you have to use the verb. So we know that the nouns are divided, it's classified into many. Okay, many classifications are there, but here we are considering only one classification, that is nouns which are divided into singular and plural. So usually nouns are used as a subject in a sentence. And I have given an example here. He required a follow-up appointment with his GP, and it is marked as wrong. So that is a complete sentence, and it has a subject and it has a verb. So you already know the basic ideas about what is a subject, what is a verb, and everything. Okay, anyway, I will explain it again. Subject means the one who does an action, and that particular action is represented using a verb. And verb is having different forms. V1 form is there, V2 form is there, and V3 form is there. So based on the subject we are using, our verb has to be written. So here you can see he. He means only one. It represents a masculine gender. He, only one person is there. That is a singular. Or otherwise it can be she or it or one single person's name. Okay, so they are comes under singular noun or a singular subject. So our rule is that rules are for all tenses. Okay, we know that we have three different tenses. uh, Present tense, past tense, and future tense are there, and again these tenses are divided. Okay, this rule is not only for simple present tense. I have just given an example related to simple present tense. It's not only for simple present tense, every tenses this rule is there. Okay, so this rule is applicable for every tenses. So we can check what this rule says. When it comes to simple present tense, this rule says that if it is a singular subject, we have to add s or es to the verb. We have to add s or es to the verb. So according to that rule, the statement we have written at the top is wrong. He require, our verb is require. We haven't added any s or es, and our subject is singular. So how will you correct it? He requires, we are adding an s. He requires a follow-up appointment with his GP. That is correct. Okay. And again opposite is there, and don't think that it is only for singular subject. If it is plural subject, we won't add s or es. We'll just give the first form of the verb. If the same sentence, if it is given as they, okay, let the subject is they, then it will be they require. If you are writing they requires, then that will be wrong. Okay, understood? So we'll go to some more examples, some more rules. So when it comes to past tense, there we are going to use auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary verbs are otherwise also called as helping verbs. Helping verbs means they are helping or connecting our subject and the main verb. So when it comes to past tense, we are using was or were. So here also that rule is applicable. If it is a singular subject, we have to use was, and if it is a plural subject, we have to use were. When it comes to present perfect, there will be using two words like has or have. If it is a singular subject, we have to use has, and if it is a plural subject, we have to use have. So here, as I've already said, we have different tenses. Okay, 12 plus 12, 12 tenses in active voice, 12 tenses in passive voice. So you'll be get confused which all auxiliary verbs I have to use, whether I have to add s or es. Okay, sometimes some people write where with singular subject because they got confused. Okay, so in order to avoid a confusion, I will share a small trick. You can see here, when you write the word singular, S is there. It starts with S. Okay, I have highlighted that. I have put a tick mark there, S. So when it comes to simple present tense, we have seen according to our agreement, we have to add S or ES. When it comes to continuous tense, we have to add is. When it comes to past tense, we have to add was. And it is present perfect, it has to be has. You can see everything, every auxiliary verbs have an S. Verb, S or es, S is there. Is, S is there. Was, S is there. Has, S is there. Okay, that is a tip. Singular, it starts with S. So the verb we are using should also have S. Okay. When you check on to the plural, when we add verbs to the plural subject, it is are, there is no S. Where, no S. Have, no S. Only with these things, S is there, and that is to be used with singular subjects or singular nouns. Okay. I think you understood this first mistake. I think I've clarified. So make sure that you avoid this mistake. Okay, it is very, very important. It will reduce your score because it comes under grammar. So one of the best rule or most important rule in grammar. Okay, this subject verb agreement. Okay, hope after seeing this video you won't make these mistakes. Okay, we'll go to the next one. Second mistake that usually see and the incorrect usage of followed by and following. Okay, usually candidates make mistake in these two words because they are unaware about its meaning or unaware about the sequence, in which sequence it comes. So usually you will use this followed by and following to connect two events. Sometimes the two events already happened or it's going to happen. Okay, in order to connect two events that happening at two different time period, we'll use this followed by and following. So I have shown here a time axis there, first event and second event is there. So from that word itself, first event means event that is going to happen first or it's already happened. Second event means one comes after one only, two comes. So second event means it's happened after that or it's going to happen after that. So here you can remember as a rhyme, one followed by two. Okay, you can remember, you can memorize that 1 followed by 2. 1 followed by 2. Okay, remember only one thing, then automatically you can write the following. So that means when you are writing followed by, first event comes first, followed by second event. First event followed by second event. Then that is when we are using or following, it will be the opposite. Second event following first. Okay, study only one. Otherwise, you will again confused. Okay, study first one, 1 followed by 2. 1 followed by 2. Okay, so we'll see some example for that. First example related to followed by, he underwent an MRI scan at 10 a.m. followed by a chest X-ray at 3 p.m. That means first he underwent, it's already over. He underwent MRI scan, then he underwent chest X-ray. So first event happened is MRI scan, then X-ray. So MRI scan followed by chest X-ray. Second example, she was brought in by ambulance following an episode of epileptic seizure at work. Here we have used the word following to connect two events. Here two events are there. One is brought in by ambulance and second event is episode of epileptic seizure at work. Here the first thing happened is, first she got an epileptic seizure during her work. Then she was taken to hospital by ambulance. Okay, so here first event happened as episode of epileptic seizure. Then she was brought to the hospital by ambulance. So it is, she was brought in by ambulance following an episode of epileptic seizure at work. Okay, so we'll move to the next mistake, that is with age. Okay, when you are writing the subject section or regarding section, that a reference line, there will be adding name, then age or date of birth. Okay, when you write age, people usually make mistake with this year old versus years old. Okay, one S is added in the second one. Where to add this S? So this confusion is because age can be represented in three forms. It can be represented as a noun like 65-year-old. There we are not using S and it is hyphenated, 65 hyphen year hyphen old. And second representation is this age can be represented as an adjective modifying a noun. Here noun used is old man. You can see 65 hyphen year old man. Man, woman, widow, widower, female, male, they are called noun. Okay, if you are adding noun also, you can use this age, 65-year-old. There also no S is added. Then third representation, it is represented as an adjective following is. Okay, after is, it can be represented as an adjective. He is 65 years old. That means if you are representing it as an adjective following is, we have to add S. Okay, so remember like this, if is there, we are adding S, S and S. That way you can remember. Okay, so that will avoid your confusion. If is there, you have to add yes, years, S in years. So I have given examples related to this. Mr. Smith, a 65-year-old widower. That is, age is used as an adjective modifying a noun. There widower is a noun and is being discharged today. Then Mr. Smith is 65-year-old. It's simply as a noun. A 65-year-old is being discharged today. Then Mr. Smith, who is being discharged today, is 65 years old. There we have added is, S is there. So we have to add S along with year also. So it is 65 years old. Okay. Then fourth mistake. Fourth mistake is advice versus advice. We pronounce it same, but difference in the spelling and also the meaning. Okay, one advice is ADVICE and another it is ADVISE. Okay, there is a difference in C and S. So first advice, which is spelled with a C, is a noun. That means it means an opinion or suggestion about somebody should do in a particular situation. Okay, that it's an opinion. That advice is an opinion or suggestion. For example, I am writing to request advice regarding the management of Mr. Naidu. Okay, there your request, opinion or suggestion from a particular person whom you are sending the message. So you request advice, request opinion, request suggestion. So that is a noun. The next advice is ADVISE, which spelled with an S. It is a verb. Okay, that is the main difference. One advice with C is noun, S is verb. Here it means you tell somebody what you think they should do in a particular situation. That action you are advising, like you are giving opinion. Okay, that particular action we represented using it. Advice, ADVISE. I would be grateful if you would advise the patient on appropriate dietary changes. Okay. So dietary change, appropriate dietary changes is our advice. That is the opinion or suggestion. So we have to, that particular person has to give suggestion. So that is ADVISE. We have to use verb. And again, since it is a verb, it comes in different forms like advices, advised, advising. Okay. So here also I will be giving you a tip to remember. Okay, remember one. Okay, always remember any one. Otherwise, if you are going to remember two words, then again it will make a confusion. So remember only one. So here also you can remember one, either ADVICE or ADVISE. So it's better to remember first one, ADVICE, that is noun. You can identify some words end with ICE, like ice, rice, spice, device. Because you know what is ice. Ice means it's a thing. Rice, it's a food item. Spice, also a food item. Device, it's an equipment like phone, laptop, computer, TV, device. Okay, you know that by seeing that words, it is clear that they are names only. They cannot be a verb. They are not actions. They are the name of something. Name of a food item, name of an equipment, name of a thing. Okay, so these names, everything end with IC, similar to our advice, ADVICE. In our advice also ICE is there. So they are noun. Okay, remember that. If some others, if you find easy to remember ADVISE, you can remember that. But make sure that you are remembering only one. Don't remember both, only one. Take one and remember that whether it is noun or verb. When it comes to ADVISE, you can find out words ending with ISE, like supervise, revise, despise. So supervise, okay, you commonly use this word supervise. Supervise means what? Someone is supervising or checking others' work. So that is an action, that is a work. Supervisor. Supervisor's work is to supervise. Okay, it's an action. So advise, which end with IC, is also a verb or an action. Okay, we'll go to next one. Our fifth mistake is complain and complaint. So here two words are there. One word with T and another without T. No other difference in spelling. All other alphabets are same. Only difference in T. So our complain without T is a verb. Okay, here also remember one. Don't want to remember two. Remember any one. Complain, it is a verb. That means to express annoyance or dissatisfaction about something. Okay, if you want to express our dissatisfaction, you will be using complain. It is not complaint, it is complain. That is a verb. Is usually followed by prepositions like of or about. Complain of or complain about. Since it is a verb, it comes in different forms like complain, complaints, complained, ed form, complaining, ing form. Okay, I've given an example. He complained of severe chest pain. That means he expressed that he has severe chest pain. That is, he complained of severe chest pain. Next is complaint with T. It is a noun. Okay, if complain is a verb, then complaint is automatically a noun. That means the statement that something is unacceptable or unsatisfactory. So when it comes to our OET writing, we'll usually write the problems of the patient. Okay, sometimes they presented with some illnesses, some disease condition. So we'll use complaint. He presented with a complaint of severe headache. Here one complaint. So we write complaint of severe headache. Then she had several. So many are there, several medical complaints. So we are adding S, complaint. So first complaint is singular noun. Second is plural. Complaints such as diabetes and eczema. Okay, hope you understood this. And next one is compliant versus complaint. Okay, we have already seen complaint. Here another word is there, compliant. Here you can see there is an interchange in two words, I and A. It's two alphabets, I and A. If you are writing compliant instead of complaint, it's not only a spelling error, it gives a wrong information. Meaning wise is also, it is wrong. So we can check how it is wrong and what is the meaning of these two words. So here you can see in your case note, it will be given medication taking as recommended by the doctor or as prescribed by the physician. It is given like that. And when it comes to the letter, candidate write it as the patient is complained with the given medication. Because here you can see COMPLAINT. Okay, that spelling is used. And it is wrong. In spelling wise is also, it is error and also meaning. What is the meaning of that sentence? The patient is complained with the given medication. That means that patient has some dissatisfaction with the given medication. But what is given in our case note? It is given patient is not having any complaint. He is taking, he or she is taking medication as recommended by the doctor. If a particular person is taking according to the recommendation or prescription, so whether that person have any complaint or whether any dissatisfaction, no. So that statement written like the patient is compliant with the given medication, that is wrong in the sense of the spelling and also in the meaning. You are giving a wrong information to the reader. So the correct sentence is, the patient is compliant, COMPLIANT, compliant with the given medication. That means the patient is following the medication as recommended by the doctor. He doesn't have any dissatisfaction. Okay. So make sure that you are writing correct spelling. Sometimes the word given in your case note will be medication compliance. Okay, their spelling will be correct. So when you are copying, you are making mistakes. So make sure that you are copying the correct word. Okay. And we'll move to our next error. That is gender change. Okay. So here, gender change means in your case note, okay, the case note is dealing with a particular patient. Okay, only one patient will be there, and sometimes the patient's name is written along with the title. Titles such as Mr. for male patient, Miss can be used for female patients or female, those who are married and unmarried. For both of them, we can use Miss, MS, or Mrs. It's only for unmarried female. Sometimes it is given, name of the patient is given with this title. Then you can easily identify the gender. But when it comes, there is not given, there is no titles are given, there will be any one clue. Okay, it's absolutely, it is definitely, it will be there. One clue will be there in your case note that you can identify the gender of the patient. So when you identify the gender of patient, make sure that you mark it on the question paper. So during that first 5 minutes of reading, you won't be allowed to write anything in the answer sheet or question paper. Don't write anything at that time. When your time starts for writing your letter, that 40 minutes time start, the first 1 minute, write the gender. Okay, as soon as your 40 minutes start, write the gender of the patient at the top of the question paper. The main issue with this gender change, okay, why people are changing the gender of the patient is, usually in our OEG letters, we'll represent or we'll salute the patient with their second name. For example, the name of the patient is Miss Maria Joseph. So that name, that complete name will be given in the reference line or the subject line. But when it comes to our paragraphs, we won't use the full name. We'll always use the second name, like Miss Joseph, okay, surname of that patient. So we know that Maria is a feminine name, Joseph is a masculine name. So when you people write Miss Joseph, you think that Joseph is the patient and you will write it as he. You start it with Miss Maria Joseph. In the introduction paragraph, we're writing she requires so and so things. When it comes to second and third paragraph, you entirely change the gender to he. So in order to avoid that, make sure that you are identifying the gender of the patient as soon as you read the case note. Okay, that is very, very important. If you change the gender, the main problem is that you will be capable of getting a B or an A grade. But because of this small mistake, it's a small mistake, he, she, one S is added or one X is left, like that only mistake when you consider. But when it comes to your OET, your B grade will be reduced to C or D. So make sure that you are not changing the gender of a patient. The next mistake is usually seen in the letter ending. Okay, when it comes to our OET, we have criteria, and one of the criteria is organization and layout. In that layout, we are following a layout such it is starting with date or address and ending with some words like yours faithfully or yours sincerely, and many of them make mistake there also. Okay, so the words are written using that black, like yours sincerely and yours faithfully, they are correct. Okay, you have to begin Y with capital letter and YOURS, that is one word, and sincerely S should start with small letter only, and spelling of sincerely is SINCERELY and a comma. If it is yours faithfully, again Y start with capital letter, then yours faithfully F is small, and for faithfully double L is there and a comma. This is the correct form of writing. And I've given 4 other words which are wrongly mentioned in many of the candidates' letter. First is, you can see Y is small. Yours sincerely, every letters are given in lowercase. That is wrong. Then second one, you can see at the top, spelling of sincerely, they have used double L. Okay, remembering the spelling of faithfully, they are using sincerely also double L. Okay, make sure that you are writing correct spelling for sincerely. Then third mistake, putting apostrophe after R, apostrophe S. That is also wrong. Yours is one word, YOURS, there is no apostrophe. And the fourth mistake is writing capital S. That is also wrong. S and F both are small letter only. Okay, so make sure that you are following the standard form of ending the letter, yours sincerely and yours faithfully. If you make mistake here, you will lose mark in your layout criteria. The ninth mistake is with for and since. So people make mistake because they don't know where to use for and where to use since. So we can look onto the usage where we are exactly using this for and since. For is always used to say how long something has been happening. How long? How long? From that word, it is clear that it's a period of time. It's not a specific time, it's a period of time, like 10 years, for some time, for 15 minutes, for a while, or for 3 weeks, for 2 days, like that it is given. So as given a example, he has a history of hypertension for the past 30 years. That means the patient whom you are referring or transferring has a history of hypertension, and this particular disease condition is how long it is, that it is for the past 30 years. For we are using the word for. Next is our since. Since is used to say when something happened. It is not how long, it is when. When means that particular time. Since last night, since 2005, since birth, since last week, since arriving in Australia, or since July, since 15th of April. Okay, that means if you want to represent a specific time, okay, particular time, then you have to use since. He has a history of hypertension since 2000. It means from that particular period it started. From that particular time it started. If the question is how long, then it should be for. If the question is when, then it should be since. And usually we'll use this for and since in our present perfect tense. That means we have an action, it started in the past, and it has to be continuing. When we are writing the letter or when we are speaking, it is there, and it is continuing. Okay, like hypertension, diabetes mellitus, arthritis. Okay, so usually it is given in the case note in the past medical history. Okay, patient diagnosed with hypertension in 2000. So that means from 2000, this person have this hypertension. Okay, hope you understood that for and since difference. Then our last mistake is with active and passive voice. Okay, there are many mistakes happen in this active and passive voice, but I have taken only one common mistake that usually see, that is with presented and admitted. Okay, many people make mistake here. They will interchange these two words like presented. Some people write it as was presented, some write it as presented. If you write it as was presented, it is wrong. The next one, admitted. Some people write it as was admitted and some candidate write it as admitted. If you are writing admitted, it is wrong. Why it is wrong? That is based on the active and passive voice. So if you want to find out the difference between this, you have to understand what is active voice and what is passive voice. Active voice means if you are giving importance to the one who do the action, like we already said in our first part, what is a subject and what is a verb. So here as similar to subject and verb, another thing is that is object. For a complete sentence, subject, object, verb is there. Subject means the one who does an action, verb is that particular action, and object is the one who receives that action. So when it comes to active voice, we are giving importance to the one who does an action, or we are giving importance to the subject. But when it comes to passive voice, we don't want who the subject is. We don't want to find out who does an action. We want only the person or the thing which receives that action. So when it comes to our OET writing, we'll use both active and passive is more important because in our OET writing scenario, in case not, there are two entities. One is health professional, another is patient. Okay, two entities are there. And the health professionals are giving care to the patient. So health professionals are the subject there. And our patient is the verb. Patient is the object. And we are giving the care, that is the verb. So when it comes to letter writing, we are referring or transferring this patient, not us, not the health professional. So we are giving importance to the patient, not to the health professional. Okay, we are taking the care and also the object who receives that care is more important. So that is the importance of passive voice in our OET writing. So then I will explain what is this presented and admitted, why it is was presented and simply admitted is wrong. Admitted means admission. You know, when a patient come to hospital, if his disease condition is serious or it's a cause of admission, then surely the person will get admitted. So admission is not done by the patient. Patient receives admission from the health professional. Doctor is going to admit the patient. So we are not considering who admitted that patient, what this patient got. Patient got admission. That means it has to be in passive voice. In passive voice, admitted means it's already over. Okay, when you are writing this letter, after admission, 2 or 3 days after we are writing this letter, so it's already over. It's a past tense. So when you are converting a past tense into passive voice, we have to use either was or were according to the noun or subject. There also we have to, there also we have to use the subject verb agreement. Here our patient is a singular patient, so we are using was. Singular is was. So it is he or she was admitted. That is the correct usage. If you are simply writing he admitted, that means patient himself admitted. Patient admitted himself. Okay, that is a wrong usage. When it comes to information also, it's a wrong information. Patient was admitted to the hospital, to hospital. Patient admitted by someone else. Okay, that someone, we are not considering that in our OET writing. We don't give importance to that, only to the patient, what they receive. When it comes to presented means it's similar to patient came to the hospital. Okay, we have already said only two entities are there, health professional and patient. When patient come to hospital, only one entity is there, patient himself or herself. We are not considering when we come to real life, patient is taken by their relatives or next of kin. We are not considering that. We have only two entities. I've already mentioned that. Okay, so in that, health professional entity is not there. Patient come to hospital. After that, only these two entities comes. Health professionals also come into screen. So first, when they come to hospital, they alone. So it is in active voice. Patient himself or patient herself came. So it is not was presented, it is presented. Patient, he presented to hospital, she presented to hospital. Okay, that is the difference. Okay, that is you have to first understood the use of active and passive voice, then only you can distinguish between was presented, was admitted, presented, or admitted. I think I've clarified your concerns. Hope you understand all this 10 mistake and hope you will avoid this mistake after seeing this video. And I have a request. When you get, you won't get any extra time to check your proofread your paper. So total you will be getting 40 minutes to write this letter. So make sure that you complete your letter within 35 minutes and keep your last 5 minutes to proofread. That is very, very important. When you're proofreading something, you can identify your own mistake. Okay, like that you can change, you can correct the mistakes. So when you're proofreading it, check whether you have used subject verb agreement correctly, whether you have used advice and advice correctly, complain and complaint, whether you have used the correct gender, and whether you have used the words like compliance and compliant, spelling is correct, and the ending of your letter, yours sincerely, yours faithfully, is written correct or wrong. Like that, you can proofread it yourself. Okay, this will improve your scores. Hope this video will be helpful for you in your OET practices. If you have any further queries, or if you want to know more about the different mistakes or the corrections regarding this writing, you can contact our academy. We are there to help you. Thank you. Have a great day. Be safe. Stay safe and stay blessed.